Well, friends, here we are, week 4 of 30 in 30. Now, this is going to go slightly over to week 5 to make up for the days that I have been sick, which includes right now, but I am determined to get 30 uploads in 30 days. Even if it's not technically the full 30 days. Thank you so much for checking out Dusklight Radio. If you came over from the Dark Somnium's newest vid, or you've been here through the algorithm, we are a dynamic horror audio product that designs special curated content with big sound effects, sound acting, queer representation, and really try to cultivate something fun for everybody, including our podcast, The Nightmare Detectives, which is set in my fictional universe of Sturgeon, the same place Dusklight Radio is set. If you enjoy these videos, please consider subscribing. Maybe check out some other videos. You can support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month and join the Discord. I just want to say thank you to everybody for making this so much fun. At the end of the 30 and 30 experiment, Vidith and I will be talking about how it's been for us, and we'll be talking about what's coming up next. Check the schedule on the new community post when you get a chance. Have a wonderful rest of your week and enjoy this story, and please forgive my terrible voice. I am still recovering from COVID. Thanks. Greetings! Welcome to the Sweet Mercy Web Auction. I hope everyone is having a wonderful night, or day, depending on your time zone. Thank you for joining us. Please do not be alarmed by our costumes. It's important to conceal our identities in order to continue helping good people like yourselves. Here at Sweet Mercy, we know you've been through hell. So I won't waste your time by beating around the bush. Our product is killers, and our goal is to provide a semblance of closure to families who have suffered the ultimate tragedy. When a murderer is released on a technicality, or the police fail completely, that's where we come in. Once our investigators confirm the accused is guilty, our extraction team transports them to a secure facility. We eliminate the risk of unanswered questions by ensuring full, legitimate confessions are made. But don't take my word for it. The complete series of interrogations is available for download at no cost to our special guests. They make fantastic therapy aids. Now, let me give you a quick rundown on site navigation. Obviously, our main video feed is in the center. The row of blue boxes beneath are you, our special guests, and the green row above features our returning benefactors. On the right-hand side of your screen is where the bidding history will appear, and on the left, you'll see tonight's product along with his background information. He can see and hear us too. We find many guests wish to confront them directly. We understand most of you are unable to afford the auction, but we believe the victims' families have a right to be here. Not only will each of you have free access to the winner's live feed Saturday night, one lucky family will have the honor of a face-to-face confrontation. Oh, that's got you sitting a little straighter. Now, to start things off, you will each have a chance to tell us your story, and at the end there will be a short break while the benefactors choose who they wish to sponsor. If your benefactor has the highest bid, you get to visit our operation at Warehouse 66 in person. Pun absolutely intended. Tonight, we have 34-year-old Carl Anthony Bateman. He was born in Boston, had an abusive childhood, don't they all, and left home at 17. Ever since, he has been a complete burden on society in every possible way. Between June and December of 2019, he brutally attacked 4 women. Tonight, 2 of those 4 women have families here to confront their killer, and our third guest actually survived her terrifying ordeal. Bateman's first victim was Julie Edwards, who had just finished her sophomore year of college. Benefactors, let's hear what her parents have to say. Helen, Lawrence, you may begin when ready.
Hello. I won't pretend to understand any of this dark web mumbo. It took us 4 hours just to get this weird browser working. Last month, If someone had told me I'd be sitting on this thing bawling my story out to people wearing tribal masks, well, shit, just listen to that sentence. But it's worth every second to see that sorry sumbitch get his. Looks like he's had a rough go of it, and we thank you for that. We thought your invitation was a scam. Sounds like the plot of some twisted movie, but I wouldn't know how to tell one way or another. Certainly looks real. Right now, maybe that's enough. As long as you aren't asking us for money. I don't think Helen's up to saying very much, but I can speak for the both of us when it comes to seeing that bastard pay. I'm glad he's watching. You have anything to say, Bateman? No, I didn't think so. Hell, I wanted you taken alive so I could say something to you in court, but this is even better. Late at night, when we wish we had died with our baby, your suffering is what will lull us to sleep, and I'd love to play a role in that suffering. We're from Tennessee, and there was a time people like you would have been strung up by the heels, dipped in honey, and left for the bugs. Julie was in Boston for college. We wanted her to come home for the summer, but she wanted to work and rent an apartment with one of her friends. Her roommate, Aaron, was with her for part of that night. June 14th, 2019. It was a Friday. They had gone to some bar with a few other girls. Apparently, they went there pretty often. Their Instagram things were full of the place. As the night went on, Julie's so-called friends left with various boys, and no one felt the need to make sure my daughter got home safely. I suppose that's where this shitbag cocksucker saw her.
Deepest apologies for the interruption, sir, but according to our interrogations, Mr. Bateman first saw Miss Julie as she was leaving campus 2 weeks prior to the night in question. Taken with her appearance, he then began stalking her until a moment of opportunity arose.
Guess I shouldn't be surprised. Those detectives certainly weren't right about much. They couldn't even collect the goddamn evidence without contaminating our own chance of finding the bastard. We've probably been told plenty of easy answers. Why should police work for the truth when it's usually the same story anyway? They don't care what really happened. They only care what time they get home at night. Oh, I'm sorry if that ruffled any feathers. I know there's good ones out there, but none of them will work in Julie's case. That much I know. Anyway, it was past midnight when cameras showed Julie leaving the bar. She preferred walking, liked the fresh air. Her apartment was only a few blocks away. Though, I suppose that part didn't matter much if you already knew where she lived. The police said there was no forced entry. Hey, mister, do you know how he got inside?
Indeed I do, sir. She was not followed from the bar. He was previously able to make a copy of her key. Bateman entered the apartment shortly after the lady's departure and hid inside the coat closet. It was his third time doing so, but Miss Edwards wasn't alone when she returned on the previous occasions. He left undetected once everyone was asleep.
Sick piece of shit. And how can you be sure he was telling the truth?
Oh, he started with plenty of lies. They all do. Most information gathered during torture is false, but we've perfected our technique and spare no expense to ensure only accurate data is recorded. You've probably seen a version of Truth Serum on TV, but real life is a little different. Very specific conditions must be met for reliable results. We have a wonderful team of psychologists and physicians who explain it much more elegantly in the full interrogation videos, and at the end, you are presented with a reliably factual report. I can assure you, Mr. Edwards, I would never repeat anything that was less than 100% certain.
I think I understood most of that. So far, you've been more reliable than the police. Anyway, I'm sure we'll be watching that video as soon as this is over. But as for what happened next, I don't know if I can. Julie was just such a sweet girl. She wanted to be an environmental lawyer. You know that? She was the first person in our family to even go to college. Always got straight A's. Just wanted to help people. Oh, why her? Oh, bastard! Why her? The autopsy report painted a detailed picture. We hadn't actually opened it till this evening. Just couldn't bring ourselves to do it before. But we owe it to our baby to know. You know, we used to watch those true crime documentaries without batting an eye. It's like, you know, it's real, but there's this disconnect. It doesn't hit you like it's real. You never think it can happen to you. Julie didn't deserve this, and she sure as shit didn't deserve to die alone like that, having her dignity ripped away. I want everyone to know what this pile of human waste did to get his rocks off. If it were up to me, I'd make him feel exactly what his victims felt, step by step, stopping just before it kills them so I could do it over and over. Yeah, I like the sound of that. It wasn't enough that you blindsided her and tied her up. Oh, no, you had to go the extra mile. She wasn't gonna wear that costume voluntarily. Certainly not for you. When they found her, she was dressed like a character from that kid's show, Sailor Moon. For some reason, I felt compelled to look it up, and it left me even more confused. Apparently, it's not uncommon to sexualize cartoon characters. What the hell is wrong with people? I saw something titled SpongeBob SquarePants. I don't care what consenting adults do to get their jollies, but you can't tell me kids don't see that stuff. He strangled her when it was over. The bonds on her wrists and ankles tore her skin apart, tore her skin as she struggled through. When he was... fuck's sake, it was all torn up down there. I'm sorry, I can't. I just can't. That was my little girl. Can you do it, mister? Since you know more than us, anyway. Can you please just tell us what really happened that night?
Yes, sir, I can certainly do that for you. But I must warn you, our benefactors have been known to bid highest on those who share these details personally.
What? That's sick. It's just sick is what it is. I'm telling you, I can't. I don't care what they bid on. All we care about is knowing that the bastard suffers. According to her, we get to do that either way. That'll have to be good enough.
Of course. Yes, I do apologize. You are correct. You will indeed be privy to all content regarding Mr. Bateman. I will now share the details of what transpired on the night of your daughter's tragic murder. We learned that just minutes after returning home, Julie received a call from the roommate, Erin, which she placed on speaker. Their conversation confirmed what Mr. Bateman would have soon realized anyway, that Julie was to be home alone for the night. Approximately 30 minutes later, the strip of light beneath the door went dark, and Bateman waited a few moments longer before quietly re-emerging from the closet. The apartment was dark except for a soft, yellow glow at the end of a hallway, and music could be heard playing over the sound of running water. Julie didn't hear her bathroom door open, and she didn't see the shadow growing on the shower curtain. She only noticed Bateman's presence when the curtain was violently ripped away. He left her no chance to react. As she opened her mouth to scream, he stepped forward, punching her across the jaw. Her head snapped backwards, impacting the tiles as she fell and leaving her unconscious. Bateman moved her to the bed where he took his time dressing her as Sailor Moon before binding her hands and feet. The costume was purchased specifically for this occasion, and he took the time to dry and style Julie's long, blonde hair in the character's likeness. She briefly regained consciousness during this process but was dealt another blow to the head. Bateman was distraught to see blood stain her hair near the temple and did his best to clean the area. While doing so, she once again regained consciousness, but rather than risk further detriment to his sick fantasy, he placed a gag in her mouth and gave her the same two options he would later present to his future victims: play along and live, or try to escape and die. Julie was unfamiliar with Sailor Moon, but seeing it as her only chance, she chose to play along. In the first scene, Bateman chose the role of Prince Demando for himself and...
Wait, I don't know if we can hear that part right now. We can't. After that, the autopsy listed her cause of death as asphyxiation. Is that accurate? Did he force her to live through all those horrible things, only to strangle her anyway?
Yes, I'm afraid so. Miss Edwards was subjected to various role-playing scenarios, many of them quite violent, for several hours before being strangled during the final act.
I want to make that monster bleed every single night. I dream of doing heinous, unspeakable things to him, and I'm disgusted by what he's turned me into. We're simple people. We live our lives, we pay our taxes, and now the world's upside down. I'm not sure I agree with profiting off other people's pain the way y'all seem to do. But I have to admit it's worth the trade-off. It's not like any of us are here at gunpoint. We chose to come and own our part in that. I don't know what these other folks have been through, but even if we didn't get to be there in person, watching this piece of shit pay is enough. So, for that, at least, we do thank you.
And we thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Edwards. We know it isn't easy to hear these things, especially from strangers. But you're among people who understand this pain all too well. Each and every member of our team has been affected in a similar way. It's how we got into this business, and we take our work very seriously. Our main goal is to provide some semblance of comfort during these difficult times. Whether you find peace in knowing this man will never hurt another soul, or simply in his harsh punishment, makes no difference. Each of us grieve differently and heal at our own pace. Now, benefactors, are you ready to hear from our second guest? After committing his first murder, Bateman was overcome with paranoia, but when no detectives appeared at his door over the following weeks, that paranoia slowly turned into confidence. Then, on October 2nd, 2019, he decided to do it again. This time, his victim was 19-year-old Natalie Laird. Tonight, her father and two brothers are here with us. Mr. Laird, you have our sincerest condolences for your loss. You may begin when ready.
Dad? Hey everyone. I'm Jason. This is my brother Tony. And this is our dad, Mike. I don't think he's as ready as he thought. Is it alright if I ask a question instead?
Of course, Jason. That's quite all right. Ask away.
Thanks. I want to believe this is real, but how do we know that's a live feed on Bateman? Or that you guys even have him? He hasn't reacted to anything that's been said. I want to see him hold up 4 fingers, without any camera glitches. Well?
Mr. Bateman, we warned you about this. The young man is speaking to you. Have it your way. Frank, 1 second contact, please. My apologies, Mr. Laird. The person you see entering the room is Frank, our head of security, and the device in his hand is a cattle prod. I'm sure Mr. Bateman will be more amenable to your request momentarily. Ah, yes. 4 fingers. Is that satisfactory? Or would you like him to sit up and look at the camera? Please don't hesitate to ask. We understand your skepticism completely, and we're happy to oblige any reasonable requests to put your mind at ease.
No, sir. I think that does it. Thank you. So, you're saying if we talk about what happened to Nat, one of those rich people might decide to bid on our behalf?
That is correct. The more they understand your pain, the more they may be compelled to ensure you are the lucky winners to visit Mr. Bateman in person.
Yeah, I think I can see what you're doing. But everything else aside, our concern is knowing he can't hurt anyone else. Beyond that, he deserves whatever he gets. You see, we talked about it beforehand, and Natalie was a private person. She wouldn't want everyone knowing what that bastard put her through. I know the details are all on the download anyway. Maybe we'll end up watching it. Maybe we won't. But we would just really appreciate it if you didn't recount Nat's final moment here as well. I was the one who found Nat, so I'll have to live with what I saw for the rest of my life. I'm not sure we can handle knowing a play-by-play of how she got that way. And despite how my dad and brother feel right now, well, I don't really know how to explain it. It's like, you think you want the truth, you want to see behind that door, but it's a permanent decision, sir. And I just feel like this all happened really sudden. It warrants some thinking time, you know?
Absolutely, son. That is entirely at your discretion. You're a very bright, well-spoken young man, and I'm sure you have great things ahead. We thank you for your time, and we wish your family the absolute best. With reports of a second murder, warnings of the cosplay killer flooded local news networks, but his identity remained a mystery. Then, on the morning of November 4th, barely a month later, Vanessa Jordan's body was discovered by her boyfriend after failing to appear for a breakfast date. Andrew spoke to CNN, saying he wasn't yet aware of the recent killings and struggled to process the grueling scene. Though he did not recognize the popular Pokemon trainer Misty, I'm sure it's a likeness he won't soon forget. His chilling call to 911 is included in our final report. Unfortunately, Andrew as well as Vanessa's family have declined our invitation to be here. Since there is no one here to speak on her behalf, we will move on to our third and final guest. She is the only survivor of Mr. Bateman's madness. Please welcome Michelle Perkins.
Hey there. You can call me Shelly. I didn't think this would be real either, but there he is. That's a face I'll never forget. In or out of his freaky little costumes. Look at me, bastard. No, don't glance and turn away. I want you looking right at me for every word of this. I said look at me.
Frank, 2-second contact, please. Excellent. Mr. Bateman, next time it'll be 3 seconds. My apologies, Miss Perkins. Please, continue.
Oh, I don't mind a bit. Feel free to zap him anytime he looks away. If you people want a story in exchange for the chance for me to do it myself, that's fine by me. I'm glad that Laird's doesn't want to go, and I'm sorry to Mr. Edwards, but nobody deserves this more than I do. The first time I saw Bateman was when he appeared outside my sociology class. He got way too in my personal space just to compliment my t-shirt. I suppose the fact that it had Kiara on it is relevant, but I didn't even know it was an Inuyasha shirt when I bought it. I just like cute kitties. I'm not like one of those nerdy girls or anything. Anyway, he said he noticed it before class, like it was normal to wait around for an hour just to compliment a stranger's shirt. I tried to say thanks and walk away, but he followed me. I didn't want him to know which dorm was mine, so I walked to a coffee shop. Thankfully, a few friends from drama club were there, but when I tried to point out my stalker, he was gone. 30 minutes later, we left as a group, and there was no sign of the psycho. That was a Tuesday. By Friday, I forgot he existed entirely. Midterms were over, and everyone was ready to go home for Christmas break. We were all on edge because of the cosplay killer. If he had been attacking one specific type, like just blondes or something, everyone would have dyed their hair and lived their lives. But no one knew he would choose next. Julie was blonde like Sailor Moon, Natalie's hair was pink like Sakura's, and Vanessa's was a ginger like Misty. Apparently mine is black like Kagome's. Isn't that right, Carl? Or at least that's what I read about afterwards, when I looked it up. Yeah, apparently Kagome is one of the main characters from that Inuyasha anime, cartoon show. I'll try to keep those parts simple. Anyway, I stayed over for Christmas break. I'm not really into big family holiday stuff. Plus, pretending to live alone was nice, and my dorm felt like a safe place. Most people didn't even lock their doors, but I always did. I was up late watching reels when there was a soft knock at the door. It wasn't uncommon. Plenty of others were staying through the holidays, and college kids aren't known for their love of grocery shopping. I thought one of the stoners was looking for snacks again. The moment I saw that creep's face, I knew I made a terrible mistake. I tried to slam the door, but he pushed past, and the door's edge hit me right between the eyes, hard enough for my vision to blur. The struggle was brief. I only remember flashes, but it ended with him beating my head against the hard floor, and everything going black. There were no dreams, only oblivion. When I did come to, it was like waking from a deep sleep. The memories of the attack all flooded back. My head ached like it being split in half. As I became more aware, I could hear Bateman moving around, but didn't want him to know I was awake. Still thinking we were in my dorm, I hoped to make a run for the door. I wish I had looked around first. As I tried to rise, I noticed several things at once. We weren't in my dorm, we were in a dingy basement. I also was dressed like a slutty schoolgirl. That's the easiest way to describe Kagome's costume. And around my ankle was a fuzzy handcuff attached to a metal bar anchored into the concrete floor. The chain was loud, and he immediately heard my movement. He was wearing a red jumpsuit type outfit with a large beaded necklace, like the Inuyasha character. I've had a hard life, but I'm a survivor, damn it. When I saw that sick look in his eyes and that disgusting grin, I knew right there I'd have to play along no matter what. I had hoped to convince him I wanted to be there, that the handcuffs weren't necessary. Sadly, serial killers are harder to manipulate than it looks like in the movies. But I didn't give up. Oh no, I play along for the worst 3 hours of my existence as he ruined my life one sick scenario after another. It was no surprise that this was the only way he could get a woman. He's infinitely more disgusting naked. He's looking away again.
3 seconds, please. Very good. Back to you, Shelly, my dear. You're doing great.
That's better. Thank you. As I was saying, he doesn't have much to work with down there, so you'd think that it'd make it easier, but no. He's like one of those horny little dogs just going at it. My poor little body couldn't take much more. I was bleeding. My spirit was all but broken. Then it happened. A scenario he'd have to unchain me for. He was so excited for it. He dropped the keys twice, trying to open the lock. It took every ounce of my restraint not to run right away. He was watching for any sign of defiance, and I didn't want him to know I would die before he got that cuff on again. Another part of my soul withered as I swallowed my vomit and forced myself to play along for a few more minutes. We were standing with my back against the wall, and within arm's reach was the liquor bottle he used in his first scenario. I bit my lip until it bled to keep from gagging as I waited for him to get lost in the moment, and I ran my fingers through his nasty, oily hair to position my hand as closely to the shelf as possible. As his eyes began to roll back, I grabbed the bottle and brought it down on his head with all my strength. It didn't break. They always break in the movies. It didn't fall to the floor like I imagined. He only groaned and staggered a few steps back as he looked at me with a betrayal sort of hatred. I knew how quick he would catch me if I ran. Instead, I charged him like a bull and hit him over the head once more. The impact reverbed up my arm and to my shoulder, but I hardly felt it. I know you've all felt adrenaline rush, but the adrenaline you get when your life is really on the line, that's the next level. I can't even describe it. Time slowed, pain was eased, pure strength coursed through me. I was like a goddess. Bateman was on the ground bleeding, but whether he was really unconscious or faking it, I couldn't be sure. That's when I noticed how close he had fallen to the ankle cuff. My heart was beating in my throat as I approached, but somehow I got it on him. He began to groan again as I clicked it shut and ran from the room without looking back. I didn't notice or care that my only article of clothing was a see-through blouse and skimpy green skirt with nothing underneath. My only thought was finding an exit. Had I been thinking clearly, I would have bashed that psycho's brain in until only a pile of mush was left. Unfortunately, that didn't occur to me until Bateman was fully awake and screaming. By then, I had reached the top of the basement stairs, which led to a dark kitchen. I couldn't see anything. Using the wall as a guide, I began making my way through the strange house until my hand found an open doorway. Through the short hallway, 2 windows let in just enough light to identify the front door. My hands were shaking as I pulled it open and threw myself over the threshold. Once outside, my hopes were crushed yet again by the sound of footsteps racing up the basement stairs. I shut the door softly as I heard him screaming, "Kagome!" Like I would actually go back. Please. I don't think he even knew my real name. God knows he never bothered to ask. There was just enough starlight to see that I was on the abandoned house's creaky porch. I had no clue where I was, and the few other houses also appeared empty. The only car on the street had to be the one Bateman drove, but it was locked. I kept moving. I wanted to melt into the darkness and become one with the night. There was less than 50 yards between me and the murder house when a spotlight shined a few feet to my left. I dropped to my stomach and managed to roll behind a tree just as the beam passed by, but he wasn't giving up. Bateman's voice was dripping with malice as he alternated between threatening me with vile, disgusting things or apologizing and promising to take me home. Any tenuous grip that man had on reality was long gone. He waved the light around in random jerky motions, leaving me no time to move or check his position without the risk of being seen. I focused on looking for the best direction to run, and that's when I noticed a space for a culvert had dug alongside the road. It was nothing but an overgrown ditch now, but I laid flat and crawled through the tall grass, identifying it as my only chance. I didn't know what lay at the end of that long horror movie road, but there was no turning back. In the ditch, I felt like everything had to be okay. I'd come too far to die. Daydreams of returning to that house, the police kept me going as my body burned from the itch of 1,000 bug bites and places that I don't want to think about. It felt like hours later when I realized the light was gone, but I was still too afraid to leave the ditch. When there was nowhere else to crawl, I stayed in place to examine my surroundings. In front of me was a real road with painted lines, and a single light shone in the distance to my left. So that's where I headed. Once out of view from my original road, I felt safe enough to stand. 2 cars passed by before I made it to those distant lights. I was too afraid to flag them down in case it was Bateman. When I finally did make it to the light source, I cried tears of joy to see it was a normal house and several more were further down the street. Unfortunately, I looked more frightening than the actual psycho. The first house wouldn't even open their door, the next 2 slammed them in my face, and finally the 4th belonged to a little lady who was kind enough to listen to me through a closed window. I can't blame her for being suspicious. If I had been a little more careful about opening the door, maybe I could have avoided this whole thing. But eventually, we were able to come to an agreement. She called 911 while I made myself as small as possible in a dark corner of her porch. Once help was on the way, she felt safe enough to let me inside. It took almost 40 minutes for the police to arrive, and I made sure they understood exactly which house I escaped from. In my terror, I had imagined Bateman was still out there looking for me, but he was long gone. At the hospital, I met with a sketch artist, and finally, a week later, they found Bateman. He had no criminal record, but there was no doubt about his guilt. The bastard admitted to it immediately before requesting a lawyer. You guys know the rest. Wait, did he really escape, or did you guys break him out?
Oh, he escaped all right. Mr. Bateman would have spent the remainder of his life in a comfortable institution had he not. We have a far reach with many powerful friends, but not quite that far. Clearly, the state of Massachusetts could not be trusted with his care, and fortunately, they now believe he's dead. That much we can do. Miss Perkins, Shelly, thank you for sharing your harrowing story with us. I know you're all ready for the auction, so please allow us a short interlude while the benefactors make their final decisions. Now that we have a break with our audience, let's see how you're all feeling about tonight's guests. Let me hear it. All right. You know, isn't it astounding what people will reveal when they think they're speaking to a small, intimate group? A night and day difference to what we would have heard if they knew we had tens of thousands of viewers listening live. And how about that Laird boy, huh? Oh, he might be a little too smart for us. I like him. But it's a good thing you all are the ones actually deciding which guest will get their private meeting. Now, please turn your attention to the poll and cast your vote now. Who will have the taste of sweet revenge on Saturday? Will it be the grieving parents or the courageous heroine? I don't often choose favorites, but it's hard not to when we have a firecracker like Shelly. While the votes are coming in, we'll give a rundown of how this works for our first-time viewers. Now, our Ultra Premium members have the honor of playing a benefactor's role. We record a faux auction with your chosen guest as the winner. That recording is then played for the guests as if it's happening live. It's a very simple, very effective system to make sure that you, the viewers, always win. And we're back. Thank you, guests, for your continued patience. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Mr. and Mrs. Edwards, benefactor number 3 is a parent like yourself. They would be honored to bid on your behalf. Laird family, benefactor number 1 saw a bit of their younger self in Jason. Since he has declined the prospect of seeing Mr. Bateman in person, you may potentially choose someone to go in your stead. And last, but certainly not least, Miss Perkins. It's no surprise benefactor number 2, who once survived a similar attack, is overjoyed to be your sponsor. My only question is, are you ready to start the bidding? Let's start the bidding at 50,000. Do I have 50,000? I have 50. Okay, do I hear 75? We have 75. We have 100 to bidder 3. Can we get to 200? Do I hear 3? 300 going once. 400. How about 5? 500. 500 going once. 600. And we have 7. Do I hear 8? Do I hear 8? 700 going once. Going twice. Sold for $700,000 to benefactor number 2. Wow, what a roller coaster. Ms. Perkins, pack your bags, because we'll be seeing you Saturday.
Oh my God, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. You won't regret this. Oh my God, I can't wait. Mr. and Mrs. Edwards, Lard's family, I want you to know this isn't just for me. This is for all the monster's victims. I know in my heart that Julie, Natalie, and Vanessa's spirits will be right there with me. Buckle up, Bateman. I've got some amazing scenarios in mind. We're going to have so much fun together. I'm going to start packing right now. You guys can email me the travel arrangements. Bye, everybody.
Well, that's just fine by us. That sweet girl deserves her revenge. To live through such a thing, it's no wonder she's a little off her rocker. Bless her heart. We'll be back Saturday to see you squirm, you piece of shit.
Yeah, if someone's gonna do it, we're glad it's her. I'm not sure if any of us will be back, but thanks again for making sure he can't hurt anyone else. That's the main thing.
Well, guys, that's it for tonight. But before we go, don't forget to download Confessions from the Cosplay Killer for just $99.95. And if you would like to pre-order your tickets for The Punishment of the Cosplay Killer at the same time, you can add both to your Sweet Mercy collection for a mere $179.95. Those who order today will also receive special behind-the-scenes footage from Warehouse 66. Hello, Shelly. It's so nice to finally meet you in person. So, after the last few days, we've discussed what you'd like to see happen here, and I think you'll be pleased with the work we've done. Considering we do this full time, we already owned most of the items you requested, but the gynecologist chair was a wonderful addition to our collection. We've named it Perkins. I think it's going to be a our guest favorite. Oh, watch your step, dear. One of the technicians hasn't finished putting this one together yet. You strap your subject's arm to that piece there, and then you turn the lever here to twist. Now that you've seen the theater, let's go get Bateman. And don't worry about the other prisoners. They're here for the same reason, but they're completely harmless. Judging by our recent conversations, I assume you aren't squeamish.
No, you don't have to worry about. Holy shit, are his eyes gone? Wow, there's so many of them. Hey, that one's missing his whole leg. Wow, I didn't realize how many serial killers were out there.
That's because we usually catch them faster than the police. Whenever you see an unsolved murder, there's a good chance it's because we got there first. Most of their victims had the same idea, that it's better to keep them alive and suffering. As you can see, they're in no condition to attempt escape once a victim has had their well-earned revenge, especially the blind ones. Oh, and they've all been castrated. Except for Mr. Bateman, of course. We didn't want to be presumptuous. You'll find him exactly as you saw him on the live stream, but we do have surgeons standing by in case you need assistance or the subject gets a little too close to death.
That's brilliant. This might be the best day of my life. I can't wait to get started.
I love your enthusiasm. You should start a career with us. We're always looking for people who truly understand the importance of our work, and the pay is marvelous. Just something to think about. Here we are. Mr. Bateman, your date has arrived.
Hey, baby. You miss me?
Most heartfelt greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlethems. I eagerly welcome you to Sturgeon's most premier station, Dusk Light Radio, hosted by yours truly, the effervescent, ethereal, and immersive Everett J. Blackwell. This delightfully tantalizing tale of revenge discussing killers for sale was written exclusively for Dusklight by PageTurner. Page also made The Demon Circus, which I've linked below. The voices you hear in this production were performed by Vidith, We Try Horror, and 242, all of which have been collaborated with, and all of which you should check out and give some love to. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out some of our other transmissions. We're adding them regularly, and we'd love to have you as part of the Dusklight family by subscribing, hitting the bell of snakes, and you guessed it, more snakes, and leave a comment with stories you'd love for my many-legged runners to find. Now, I want to thank all of our patrons for making this possible. If you want to sign up, it's as little as $1 a month, and you get exclusive content, early access videos and stories, updates, and more. But times are tough, and we will always be grateful for support no matter what form it comes in. Financial, spiritual, corporeal, maniacal, whatever you want. It really helps us out. Dusklight gives thanks to, first, our Sturgeonite faithfuls, Sabrina Alexander, Laree W., PRDL12, Jason Webb, Jimmy Ricardo, 21 Keys, Jack the Lad, Nathan Billings, J.I. Lara, Val Was Taken, Amy Walrath, Dexter, Heather Gee, P. Tripp, Super Abyss, and Morgan Ra. Our Purple Crayon Eaters, Feeny Von Karma, Max, Phi, Amara, Ashabel, Candyman Gloving, Mike, Alex, Gail Allstott, Echo Kion, Ian Hancocks, and Kendra Wilson. Our janitors, Alex Nunez, Arkham Cookie, Amy, Adrian R., Heather Cayley, Scott, Death31, Sabila Eclipse, Joy Flint Healy, Dux, Shane Lewis, and Allie. Our Nightmare Detectives, Fox Clifford and Melanie Schaefer. Our Void Walkers, Professor CreepyPasta, Rat Squatch, and Josh Woods. And lastly, our Blackwell family members. Great Uncle Ven Blackwell with his forbidden knowledge, Izzy Blackwell, our resident bug devourer, Adela Blackwell's firebending and illusions, Ethan Blackwell, abyssal fisher and repo lord, Jackal Blackwell, head chef and mystery meat purveyor, Clue Blackwell, the chrysalis of unknowable horrors, Tabitha Blackwell, void water baron and forever frenemy to our last entrant, Papa Kyle Blackwell. From his tower of bones, broth and spines, preparing for the outer gods to recognize his claim. We love and fear you, Papa, and we thank all of you humbly for your patronage and look to see you bright and early for Dusklight orientation. Purple crayons and existential dread will be provided. And one last time, listeners, close your eyes and breathe with me. Remember, no matter how bad things are, how cruel people can be, and how heavy your shoulders may feel with the weight of the world bearing down on them, Dusklight will always be here to lift the load and provide you with some respite. Drink some hot cocoa with chocolate sprinkles and fat marshmallows. Have all the Christmas candy you can manage, watch a video about liminal spaces and cryptid sightings, and sleep on the cool side of the pillow with the window open and the stars twinkling down on you. Start and end each day with kindness in your heart. You matter, you are loved, and every day is another chance. I'll see you again when the sun sets and dusk enters the station.